What's happening, guys? It's VenomousFatman here. I got a brand new OTGT for you. This time I'm talking about Tron Evolution for the Xbox 360. Now, for you guys that don't know what Tron Evolution is, there's a new movie that just came out not too long ago called Tron Legacy, which is a sequel to the classic Walt Disney movie Tron. So pretty much Tron Evolution is kind of the bridging gap between the first and the second movies, and the events that go on there. So anyway, to give you kind of a little backstory, I'm a fan of Tron. I saw it when I was really younger, so when I got my hands on this game, I had a lot of good expectations for it. I was ready. I wanted to see some cool light cycle combat, some cool disc combat, the works. What I forgot was, which was a really important thing that I forgot, was that almost all movie games that tie into the actual movies or what they're based on are terrible, which, we've seen many times in the past. So as I completed this game, I played it from start to finish. I soon began to realize, okay, this is nothing but another movie cash-in game, which, is utterly terrible. So let me tell you exactly what I'm talking about. Tron Evolution has a lot of bugs and glitches. They had these parkour style of, platforming, a la Prince of Persia and Assassin's Creed, very similar to those games where you have to run through different platforms and stuff, run through different areas and scale buildings and stuff like that. But the problem is that it's not so much controlling the character or the layout of the controls. It's actually when you're trying to go from point A to point B, there will be different sections or different areas that completely prevent you from doing what you're supposed to be doing, and you'll just fall to like a bottomless pit and die. So what I mean is, for example, there was a section where I'm trying to wall run from one wall to the next to be able to wall run again to get to a platform. I would wall run on the first wall area, just run, and when I have to jump at a specific angle to get to the next wall so I could continue doing what I'm doing, my character will either just run off the damn wall, or he would jump in a completely different direction that I want him to when I know I'm not pressing that direction, which is key to remember. And he'll just fall to the bottomless pit and die. So I was saying to myself, wow, this is a little bit annoying. And it would happen a lot more often than one would think. Here's the problem. There was another area where you have the ability to actually sprint in the game by holding down the right trigger. And there's a couple sections where you have to do this long jump where you sprint and then jump. And it's a long jump towards another ledge, which is over this big gap. So I said, okay. So I would try to jump over there. And for some odd reason, my character was just not venting on the actual ledge in order to climb up. He wasn't grabbing it. So I'm saying to myself, I know for a fact I'm doing this right. What is going on here? And it's because somebody did some bad programming for this game. There's a bunch of other little sections like that here and there, including areas where you have to jump off a wall to grab onto a ledge. And instead of jumping towards the next wall, you'll end up jumping off the side or jumping in some random direction, which either kills you by falling into a bottomless pit, or you have to completely start over the entire platforming section of what you were doing because of that stupid little glitch or bug. On top of that is also the combat. The combat was really disappointing. It's not the combat itself, the actual fighting with the light disc or the data disc that's the problem, nor is it the controls. It's the actual kind of process of going through like hordes and groups of enemies or even boss characters, because certain characters and certain enemies and stuff require you to use certain attacks in order to take them out, with the most damage or really quickly so you can move on to the next batch of enemies and stuff. What's the problem is that, they have this RPG style of leveling for your character. So every enemy that you kill or you de-res, as it's called in the Tron universe, you gain a certain amount of experience, which could then, level up your character, and you get these points or megabytes, quote unquote, that kind of spend on different attacks and abilities and upgrades for your character. But here's the problem. There's plenty of little areas to actually upgrade your character, but for most of the game, you're actually playing the game without much memory to actually upgrade your own character, meaning that you're not getting enough experience from the enemies that you're killing. So you could come up to a section that requires you to use a specific attack to actually kill one particular enemy, but because you don't have an attack, you're not going to do hardly any damage, if any at all, to that specific enemy, and you're just going to die many times, a ridiculous amount of times, which could get very, very annoying, because the game has you not only fighting different characters, in light disc battles, but it also has you fighting against tanks, different vehicles all over the place, while you're still on the ground. Now they also have sections where you take control of a tank, you take control of the light cycles. The tank's not a problem. The light cycle chase scenes are completely terrible, in my opinion. I think that, going through the light cycle actual chase sequences, like because the world is so kind of like dark and it's just a monochromatic blue for the most part, save for like, you know, certain areas or certain enemies and stuff like that. While you're driving, even if you're going slow, you can't really see what's coming up in front of you. So you would think like you're looking at something far off in the distance, like a background or like a cityscape or whatnot, and it's actually like a rock coming towards you, which you can't make out until you actually hit the damn thing, which is very, very annoying. There's also sections with the light cycle areas where I would be trying to drive and actually turn a specific way, and all of a sudden I'll just get hit by some type of invisible wall or invisible object that's not appearing in front of me when I'm looking, and I'll get knocked off the platform and die a meaningless death. There's a lot of meaningless deaths in a lot of different areas where you'll die, you know, randomly for no apparent reason or for a really stupid reason at that, which could literally get very annoying, could really turn a lot of people away from finishing up this game. And then finally, the multiplayer section to me is all but non-existent. Pretty much I kept looking around, you know, online in the matchmaking trying to find players to play with, because one of the things on the back of the box that they tell you is that you could seamlessly, while you're playing single player, you could automatically seamlessly without stopping go straight into multiplayer, which I guess, you know, it kind of like, you know, digitizes you out of the area that you're in and puts you like on the game grid or something like that, you know, with a disc battle or on a light cycle battle or a tank battle, whatever it may be. And it's supposed to do that really quickly and really seamlessly, because that's one of the selling points that it has on the actual packaging. But I was unable to find any people to play with at all. I would constantly be sitting there for almost 20 minutes to a half an hour while the actual game was trying to find other people to play with. And I'm guessing either it has to be that nobody's playing this game online, which I could understand, or it has to be that the game has poor matchmaking. But either way it is, I could not get any multiplayer matches online. And I was really looking forward to it because, you know, one of the cool things about Tron was, one, the light cycle chases, the light cycle battles that they had on the game grid, but also the disc battles that they had where you're fighting other people with the actual data disc. So I thought that was going to be cool, but the simple fact I didn't get to play, you know, was really disappointing. So overall, you guys kind of get the general gist of it. Also, one other thing I should mention, which I'm pretty sure if not many people picked it up, they will now. I find it amazing, without giving too much of the story away, why is it that the name of the game is called Tron, or the name of the movie is called Tron Legacy or Tron Evolution, and yet Tron, the main character from the very first film, is hardly in it. He's hardly in the game, like not even like once or twice. And I know if you go see the movie, I'm not going to give it away, but you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. But in this game, it's very apparent that Tron is almost not in the actual game. When you finish the game, you get to look at it kind of like a 3D model viewer, where you get to look at all the different characters and different models and stuff like that. You actually get to look at Tron and actually see how he looks, but you only really see him when you're playing the game in like 1 or 2 cutscenes, and that's it. You don't get to play as Tron. You don't actually get to control Tron. You don't team up with him, nothing like that. I thought that was very disappointing, and it's kind of stupid considering that his name is in the title. So how the hell can you not have Tron in the game when it's called Tron Evolution or Tron Legacy, whatnot? I'm just throwing it out there. You guys could really think about that if you will. But anyway, that's just my thoughts and opinions. Leave your comments and video responses. I don't mind. Just keep it civil. Let me know what you guys think. If you actually feel the same way about this movie game as I do. If you guys actually liked it, please talk about it on there and give us some explanation of why this game is good, because I think it's terrible. But that's just me. So anyway, I'm out, guys. VenomousFatman is gone. That was only the goddamn truth. Talk to y'all later.